Hi, Kat. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Doing well, thank you. I love the finale. I love the whole season. It was a fantastic series. So I want to just get started. Like, you take a really big swing in the finale, and Marvel Studios is no, stranger to taking big leaps. But this one really like sort of subverts expectations. And can you tell me just more about like how that whole concept sort of came together and why this was the right ending for Jen?
Well, I mean, the concept draws heavily from the comics and from the John Byrne run. And it was always we always knew we were going towards that ending where she literally smashes the fourth wall and goes into the writer's room and confronts Kevin. There were definitely many different versions of how we got there. And I would say one of the biggest challenges was when you're shooting a finale that the purpose is to kind of not make sense so that she can then go and confront the writer's room. You really have to have actors who trust you. There was a moment in that lodge where I had Tatiana and Mark and Tim and Jamila, and everyone was kind of looking at me like, what is going on? And I was like, guys, it's not supposed to make sense. That's kind of the point. And it definitely was a big risk in a lot of ways, but I think it paid off really well.
Yeah, no, it was real cool. And so like you have like you mentioned Kevin, who makes this like really unexpected, like we find out who's behind Marvel Studios. And it's really rare that you see like a studio head like Kevin Feige really poke fun of himself, of his successes, his missteps. And so like what was it sort of like collaborating with him and developing that process? How far were you able to push the envelope in that sequence? And like
Kevin had a huge hand in the whole sequence and was a huge part of the creative evolution of Kevin. And that's one thing that really surprised me coming into the Marvel world is you think he has so many projects going on. There's no way he's so hands-on, but he really is. And he was a big part of developing Kevin and always making sure that it wasn't him, that there was a separation between the man and the machine.
awesome. And I love that you asked the question about the X-Men and She-Hulk in a movie, so that was much appreciated. And I'm a huge Orphan Black fan, so I know Tatiana's capable of having chemistry with pretty much anyone.
Yep.
But what it felt like her scenes with Charlie Cox were like really special, and it's is it like I'm just asking, it's like, is it safe to say like Jen and Matt Murdock are sort of together moving forward into like 2023, 2020, Daredevil,
Well,
Born Again, and all that?
as someone who was in the room with the two of them, I think that anybody making a Daredevil series would be crazy not to capitalize on their chemistry and, on Jen and Matt's electric spark. Because those two, they're both such thoughtful actors, and putting them together as soon as I filmed the first scene with them together, I knew that it was all gonna work great. And I think they should absolutely be a couple moving forward, in my humble opinion.
Oh, I agree. And like you get to also in episode 8, you get to play around with Daredevil, and you get to play around with his series where he has like these dark hallway fights, and you're like, no, this is She-Hulk's. And so like what is just like what was that like, just playing with that series? Like, hey, we've done 7 episodes and now we're doing this Daredevil sort of spin-off, but also our She-Hulk spin.
Well, one thing that I really appreciate about the series is it's not this action-packed, high octane all the time, action show. It really is about the normal life of a superhero. And I felt like in episode 8, we finally got to cut loose and have real action sequences and kind of play in that genre. And so for me as a director, it was just a ball. And I was so glad, that we got to explore that part of the MCU.
Yeah, no, awesome. And so like you also have this big reveal near the end of the finale with the Hulk returning and introducing his son, Skaar. And so how did that sort of come? And now it seems like there's a lot more Hulk adventures coming, and it's a lot. And we've seen She-Hulk's full superhero, Hulk's a superhero. Now there's a third the Hulk already. So what were you allowed to like? What did you learn about like? Oh, we're introducing Skaar, and then how did that just sort of come together?
Well, Skaar is another Kevin addition. And it sounds so funny now talking about Kevin Feige, now that everyone's seen the finale and knows that there's a bot called Kevin, but the real Kevin Feige was the one who wanted us to introduce Skaar, and in this very specific way. And I remember I had pitched introducing Skaar as a toddler because I thought it would be like Baby Yoda and really cute. But Kevin has a vision that probably is connected to many stories to come, which I don't know.
So you have like also the Hulk King reveal had like this sort of Mephisto level of speculation leading into it. People are saying the leader, or Red Hulk or something. So was Todd always like your Hulk King? Because it makes a lot of sense once you like play it back. Or did you like ever play around with his identity a little bit?
No, Todd was always Hulk King. And even introducing him in episode 4 when we introduced him on the date, we knew that he was kind of our big bad.
Yeah. And so like you're like, I don't know if you're allowed to say anything, but like what are your, even without saying anything, like what would you hope to take Jen in a potential season 2 or another, like in the movie or something? And is there any chances that we could see your Marry Me star Jennifer Lopez join the fray?
Well, you know how I feel. I would love to see Jennifer Lopez in the MCU. I've put that out there because she's a real life superhero, and she really is. When you're around her, you're like, you're not human. You can't be real, because she's just so beautiful and powerful. In terms of Jennifer, I mean, I love the idea of Jennifer coming into the Daredevil series, but that's just me.
Me too. I want to see it. But thank you so much for your time, Kat. I love the show, and thank you so much. This has been
Thank
great.
you. Thank you.